I'm Lane Wyers with Liberty Oilfield Services, and I'm here today to talk about Fraconomics, a service that our tech team provides. Our tech team has access to a variety of different completion tools. For instance, here on the left you see big data statistics, or LibertyMVA that Mike Meyerhofer talked about before. We also do a lot of work when it comes to calibrated frac and reservoir modeling. Now we're quite uniquely placed in this space for these type of tools because of our past experience of fracture mapping and calibrated fracture modeling work. We're also quite uniquely placed in this space to incorporate economics in this type of analysis because our sales team has direct access to sales quotes. Of course, they provide the sales quotes and how prices of frac jobs change as a function of completion parameters and frac design changes. Now today we'll focus on how the economics engine and the big data statistics work together in a workflow we call Fraconomics. If we plot overall well cost as a function of the total estimated ultimate recovery of a well, you'll see a graph that looks something like this here. As we spend more money on a well, the production improvement is not increasing linearly. As a matter of fact, cost increases quite rapidly as we try to get more oil out of the ground, especially the last drop of oil. So if we're taking that particular line and then dividing that line by the total estimated ultimate recovery of the well, we get a graph or a line that looks something like this here in black that we call the cost per barrel of oil, or dollars per BOE curve. Now, we can be on the left-hand side of this curve, meaning that we don't spend enough money on a well to make it produce, and the production is kind of disappointing. If we're on the right-hand side of this particular graph, means that we actually spend too much and that the production of the well is not living up to its expectations. So ideally, you want to be somewhere on the bottom of that graph in an area that our CEO, Chris Wright, coined Happy Valley. This is where our customers want to be when they produce their wells and make completion changes. Now, how does this work in practice? How can we design completion changes to get to Happy Valley? Now, here's an example of how a statistical model would determine how production changes as a function of proppant mass. That's the yellow line here. So proppant mass is driving production changes based on a statistical evaluation of wells in an area. Then, with our sales information, we can determine how the well cost is changing as a function of the proppant mass changes in a frac design. And of course you can see how the well cost is increasing as a function of that. But now I do the same thing as what I did before in that graph. I divide these two curves by each other to get a curve that we call the dollars per BO, or dollars per barrels of oil produced, or barrels of oil equivalent. That's this particular curve. And you can see actually that there's a minimum depending on the cost scenarios that we use for two particular cases, and that the Happy Valley is somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 pounds per lateral foot in the frac design. Now we can actually take this particular sensitivity proppant mass and then add a sensitivity, for example, to stage length. And you get the cross plot over here that I'm showing you on the right. Now we want to be on the minimum side of both of these particular parameters. And that's in the center of the bowl that I'm showing you there, at an overall proppant mass of about 1,500 pounds per lateral foot and at a stage length of about 290 feet. So that's kind of the optimized area where you want to be for your frac design. So Liberty's engineering toolbox can help you identify primary production levers. Then we can add to these levers how prices are changing as a function of them. And then Fraconomics provides a workflow to help you reduce the overall production cost on a per barrel of oil basis. Now this is a service that Liberty can provide for free for customers. So if you want an analysis done by us, please visit us at libertyfrac.com. Thank you.